Ain't no running, ain't no hiding, ain't no ducking. We just slide. Period. What up, what up, what up? We are back. Who am I? Jersey Street Corner, and this is the Prison Talk Show, people. So let's get into it. Now, I've told y'all many stories before about how I used to get down in prison. By myself, with my cuz, it didn't matter. Prison turned me into a monster. And those attributes still follow me to this day. So when I say that, I mean, yeah, I might have been so-called reformed. I'm not committing the same crimes that I was in my 20s. But trust and believe, if a joker run up on me wrong, he gonna get these hands. Now, surviving in prison meant you had to get a strong knuckle game. Either you were just gonna get your ass whipped probably 3 times out of the week, just for fun, because somebody gonna use you as practice. Now, you actually gotta practice. You gotta spar in prison. You gotta get with a set of people that you cool with, and y'all gotta actually have friendly fades. Ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It ain't no other way to learn how to fight but to get punched in your face a few times and learn, if I don't put that arm up and block, I'm gonna get socked in the eye. That's the only way you're gonna learn, people. And that's how I learned. That's how many of people learned in prison. You gotta get them fades in. And like I said, y'all, friendly fades. So when the real beef come, you ready for it. You ain't worried about somebody punching you in your face or gut checking you. You done been through that with your homies already. You ready for that. You gotta go way harder than that, pause, to knock me out. So we would practice daily, back in the bathroom, like a real fight. But we just throwing them hands, practicing maneuvers, shadows, blocks, counters, all of that. And even practicing with them blades. A lot of people don't know you don't go into a fight holding the blade upwards. You hold it downwards. So that way you can still maneuver your hands, get them swings off, and still come back every time you bring your arm back with that blade. Kata! You know what I mean? So, learning how to fight is going to be your first defense in surviving in prison. Now, the second thing you need to learn is A, how to keep your mouth closed. You stay to yourself. You don't go blabbing every little thing that you see happen in the prison. People don't like that. And when they see that they can't trust to do business in front of you and you keep your mouth closed, well, you become a liability. And what do I mean by liability? I mean somebody that could possibly snitch and get somebody hemmed up because you just saw a drug transaction, or you just seen somebody using a cell phone, or you just saw somebody get stomped out in the bathroom, or any other crime that you could have been witness to that you got no business going and running your mouth. Now, you normally get labeled as a rat when you run your mouth, and the whole prison pretty much gets to go the green light on you. What's the green light? The green light is when on sight, any prisoner at will could just tee off on you. Yeah. Oh, it goes down. If you still walking around the prison and you giving the officials information, best believe somebody gonna tee off on you, and you never gonna know who it's gonna be, because you putting the whole prison at risk. There's a lot of people in here doing crime that they don't want to get extra time for. So you, homeboy, either you gonna shut your mouth or we're gonna shut it for you. Now, learn how to move in a room full of vultures. That's true, y'all. You really got to know how to move, because everybody is waiting on your downfall. Is somebody always waiting to get your commissary or whatever, you got that they can snatch from you? That's what they're going to take. So you got to be very mindful of the people that you allow to get into your business. You can't just do business with any and everybody, y'all. Y'all don't hear me, though. Y'all really don't hear me. Prison is not for the weak. If you go into prison thinking, I'm just going to stay to myself and I'm just going to do my time and I'm not going to bother nobody. Nah, it's not going to go down like that because people are going to bother you. When they see you scared and you hide in the corner, you don't want to come out of your cell. You don't want to go to outside rec because you're scared of what could happen on that big yard. Yeah, people see that and they take advantage of it. Now, outside rec. Outside rec can be one of the most dangerous places for an inmate in the prison. Why? Because there are no actual guards, COs, outside and rec with you. You're literally out there with multiple gangs and different factions, different people who may or may not like you just because they don't like you. Period. They don't even know you. They just don't like you. You could be on that yard with somebody who wants to rob you, somebody who wants to unalive you. You could be out there in that yard with somebody who wants to do something very bad to you. Now, the only way of surviving the big yard is to get in when you fit in. So, if you're going to lift weights, you got to go with a crew of people. You can't just go over to the weight pile by yourself and expect them to let you get in. If you ain't down with them set of homies that's lifting weights, you got to wait your turn for a team that you are down with. You can't just, walk around the track by yourself and expect not to be harassed. People going to ask you, what you doing over here? We walking the track right now. And the track is big, y'all. They can't walk the whole track at the same time. But still in all, they're going to ask you, who told you that you could walk the track at the same time as us? Now, how you answer your questions also will contribute to your survival in prison. Now, you ain't got to be scared, but you got to stand up for yourself. And you got to let people know that you're not scared. You don't mean no disrespect, but you're not scared to fight for yours either. So, if somebody going to walk up to you and tell you, yo, you got to get off the track because we walking right now, that's unacceptable. That leads to definitely a fight, if not more. And you're going to have to prove that they should let you walk around that track because it ain't worth bothering with you if you're going to get into a fight every single time they approach you. It's just not worth it. So once you get a fade or two out the way, then you might start getting some respect in the prison. People start knowing the boundaries they can cross with you or not. And one mistake that a lot of people make when they go into prison is not checking the first person that, does something grimy or disrespectful to you. And I know it might seem crazy. You ain't got to check the second or third person all the time that tries something crazy. But the very first person, you got to check them immediately. Ain't no holding back, no talking. Somebody disrespect you, your first time in the prison, you got to put them in their place. Or at least try. And you still get respect for trying. Even if you punch somebody in the face and end up getting beat down because they 2 times bigger than you. Hey, little man had heart. He stepped up for his. He wasn't going to let that dude just punk him. Even though he lost, now we know he going to fight for his. He ain't going to just stand there like some sucker. So, now, the third and fourth time that it happened, as long as you stand up for yours, you'll be all right. Everybody know your rep. Like, you know what I mean? It is what it is. Dude, like 3 times bigger than him. He ain't going to risk, getting killed or unalive over that. We know his rep. We know he about it. But still in all, it's tricky, y'all. You can't let too many of them things slide. 1 or 2 you can let slide, but after a while, if you start to get known as the guy that just lets things slide, you're going to have a hard trip. Now, when you're out in the big yard, you got to know what corners are what. Each corner of the big yard is controlled by certain gangs, meaning when you walk in the track, you got to keep it moving because each gang is in their corners doing their business. Now, let's say you walk in the track and you stop quarter way right up here. Now, you just stop, man. You might be looking at the sun or looking at some birds flying. But now this gang thinks that you're paying attention to their business. You are potentially gaining information that you can snitch on them with. Now you become a liability. So on and so forth. So if you're walking the track, walk the track and keep your speed moving. Do not stop and slow down and sit there and watch the ducks walk by and the birds fly by. Nah, because they're going to assume that you're snitching on them, that you're potentially getting information. Now, another big thing that people do not take serious is cooperation. When you are in prison, there is to be very minimal amount of cooperation with authorities. Meaning, you're not supposed to be on that gate, kicking it, beating down with officers, unless they're females and you're trying to run some cold game. That's a different story. But unless these are known COs that deal with inmates in the prison and make things pop, which there are a few I've mentioned under alias names, unless it's one of them, you are not supposed to be at that gate in those officers' faces all day, all night. Hey, CO, hey, man, you see the news today, man? Hey, yeah. You ain't supposed to be talking baseball, football, basketball, nothing with them officers. Because everybody that see you being so friendly with them officers that don't do nothing for nobody else gonna immediately assume you snitching, whether you are or not. So save yourself the harassment and possibly the beatdown of your life and stay away from them officers, y'all. You ain't got no business talking to them cops. Now, I've seen some people completely ignore this rule, and they pay dearly, y'all. Now, some of them was snitching, a lot of them wasn't, and I feel bad for the ones that wasn't. But even though they wasn't, they thought that it'd be cool to spend half of their day up there conversing with, an officer about the Islanders game or the Yankees game or the Knicks. Nah, bro. Nah, don't nobody want to hear that. We was just talking about sports. We was just kicking it, man. Nah, bullshit. They're going to beat you to a pulp and make sure now you got something to really tell. Tell them who did it and see what happened to you next. So, when you see all of these movies and depictments of things that happen in prison, they're about, I'd say like 70% truth. Because things don't happen out in the open. Things happen behind closed doors and arranged under stairwells, in corners and closets. Things don't just happen the way they show in the movies. But trust and believe, the one part that most of these movies got right about prison is that you are in danger. Your life is in danger. You have to completely transform yourself to a different person if you're going to survive in prison. Whether or not that person comes home or not is another story. But for the time being, you have to be a different person, a monster, a beast, ready for battle at any given moment, because you are fighting for your life. You're fighting for your survival. If you like content like this, keep coming back for more, people. If you haven't done so already, like and share this video, subscribe to the page, and if it pops up on your channel, hype this video, y'all. Y'all know the vibes. Let's go. Now, the one thing that I would advise any new inmate, and this is something that I did myself for probably the first year, keep your commissary low. If you don't have a lot, it's less for somebody to want to steal. And I know y'all like, oh, that sounds like some kind of punk move. Nah, it's a survival tactic. You keep just enough for you to survive, but low enough for nobody to think that, oh, he loaded. Let me go hit his box. If all they ever see you bringing on your commissary order is 3 or 4 soups and a can and maybe a couple of packs of Black and Milds at a time, and your bag is little as hell compared to people that got sacks like this, they spinning. If you keep your bag small, you a small fry and people don't even look at you. They don't think twice about robbing you because they think that, oh, he ain't got no bread. He just getting by himself. They ain't gonna try and rob somebody that's gonna bring in enough to survive for 2 days. Meanwhile, they don't know that you stockpiling. As long as you don't tell nobody, not even your bunkie if possible, you could be stockpiling those Black and Milds. 3 packs a week when you only smoke a half a pack a week. Because you busting the Black and Milds down. By the way, I didn't even get into that. But that's how you survive. You got to bust them Black and Milds down and turn them into 2. You roll the dunk that's inside of them. That's the brown paper. And now you got 2. And all the extra tobacco, you save that in a can, in a coffee can. So when you run out of Black and Milds altogether, you got all that loose tobacco and you use rolling paper or toilet tissue, the wrapper from the toilet tissue. And you roll up joints like that. And you good. That'll last you to the next week. You gotta survive in prison, y'all. If y'all don't know these things, you will never make it. There's all types of tricks to surviving in prison. Popping the socket to get your light when you ain't got no matches. Lighting a wick to keep that light going all night. Yeah, y'all. You got a lot of things that you gotta do to survive in prison. It's not just going to prison and locking in and just thinking, I'll be okay. The state gonna take care of me. They gonna feed me. No, they not, y'all. They do not care whether you eat or not. They just have to physically produce enough meals for the amount of inmates in the prison just to say that all inmates were fed, whether you got fed or not. If your tray gets stolen or robbed or spills, guess what? They don't replace it and they don't care. Get out the line, inmate. Go back to the pod, inmate. If you ain't got no commissary, you a dead man walking. So, what do you do, people? Either you have a hustle in prison, or you a goon and you rob in prison. Either way, you gonna survive. Now, you cannot run a store if you don't have the clout. And what do I mean by that? If you run the store, most likely you're in a gang or protected by a gang. Either way, you're not doing it on your own. Because there's no way that one man is going to have that much commissary and not get robbed constantly. You got to be backed by some strong people. And when I say strong, I don't mean physically strong. I mean the name got to be strong. The name got to ring bells. It got to ring fear in other inmates in that prison. That if they think about stealing one soup from you, the repercussions will be so horrifying, they'll never do it again. So, before any of y'all even think about committing a crime and saying, oh, I could do a few years in prison, I'll be alright, I could do 5, I could do 10, you better think about that real good. Because coming from somebody that's done over 10, let me tell you, it ain't nothing sweet. It ain't nothing to take lightly. It ain't nothing that's forgettable. So when people ask me, where do my stories come from and how do I have so many? 10 years, people. Trust me, I have stories. And I'm going to share these stories with y'all. So keep listening. Keep coming back for more. Because your boy just getting started. As usual, y'all, this is the Jersey Street Corner Prison Talk Show. I am your boy, Jersey Street Corner. And with that, I'm out.